Do you ever get out on location filming? It's easier and less expensive than you think. And in today's T Talk, that is what we're going to discuss, because we are going out on location and we thought this is going to make an amazing episode. So welcome to the first ever T Talks car edition. Let's get into it. Right, so Darren, we're in the car, We're on the motorway, we're going to a location to do some shooting for our own marketing purposes. Why are we doing it? What do you think?
Well, there's nothing quite like getting on location and doing some filming. There's tons of stuff out there like stock footage that you can use, and for a lot of cases that's an absolutely fine solution. But you know, there's something about getting something that's very custom made for your own purposes, and just shows that you've ultimately gone out and done it yourself.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. When we've only just recently started doing this, and I'm loving this. We're doing it now for clients. We're doing it for ourselves, and it's just so great. You know, out and about, and I think you can capture so much different stuff.
Yeah.
You know, but I think for me, and I'm sure there'll be people watching this T-Talk, what they'll be thinking, but how do you do it from a practical perspective? Surely you need lighting and you need loads of equipment and stuff like that. I mean, we've come out, with a couple of bags?
Yeah, well,
so what do you need to be able to do it if you've never done it?
Yeah, well, I mean, for those watching who are regular watchers of T-Talks, you'll notice that normally we have 3 cameras. Today, this is the only one.
We got one.
We've only got the one. And a big part of today's shoot is that we're going to multiple locations. It's in the middle of the day. And ultimately, we kind of need to travel light.
Yeah.
So we don't really have the opportunity to have all of our cameras with us, all the big stuff, all the lighting, particularly since a lot of the locations that we're using today are public settings.
Yes,
Which means that we don't have the luxury of setting up a whole lighting rig and a bunch of tripods and all of that. So, but ultimately what it does is it gives you that sort of realization that you kind of don't need all that much.
Yeah, that's what I was amazed with, is that we actually, just how light we've traveled. And as I say, you obviously need your cameras, the mics, we've got these little lapel mics which work. And I think, as you say, we're going to be able to, in one day, because that's the other thing, time. Because, well, you need to, all the planning. Really, we haven't planned a huge amount for this, have we?
No.
And I think a lot of time brands, if they want to capture stuff, particularly now if you're using it for social and stuff like that, it doesn't need to be overly produced, does it, really?
No, it doesn't, no. And we've spoken about this a lot, actually, where, and it's all to do with that TikTok style thing.
Yeah.
And like, people like the authenticity of low quality content.
Yeah, it doesn't need to look too polished, does it?
It doesn't, no. And
actually,
in a sense, I've seen content creators in the past where they've spent months on a video and it's polished like a diamond, and honestly they don't get as much reach and engagement as they're hoping, and then they just do a very quick selfie video on their phone and it blows up massively. So it really doesn't make as much of a difference as you might think. Sometimes it does. Sometimes it's recognized as exactly what it is, and the amount of effort that you put in is perfect.
I think it comes back to thinking about what's the why you're doing it. Why are you creating? We haven't just come out on thinking, we'll just go out and about and we'll do some shooting. We've actually got a plan of what we want to capture and stuff like that. So it's having a plan, but then the actual thinking, this needs to be all mapped out to the nth degree. We haven't done that.
No.
And even when we go to clients, we don't really, because you're always going to see things and capture things that maybe you had. We were talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
There are things you think once you're on location, I'm going to capture that. I like that. And I think that's what we'll capture today. It's what we've done before when we've been out with filming with clients. And we have a rough plan, but it's not nailed down. And I think that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of brands don't do videos. They're, it's going to be really involved, it's going to be expensive, we're going to need all of this kit, and actually you don't, and it's going to be more involved than maybe it needs to be, but it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. And actually, I think what would be really handy for the people watching, particularly those of which who are in brands who maybe don't have a videographer, but they really want to get going with video content of their own, is I thought I'd just run through sort of the very bare minimum of what you need to really get started.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
So lighting is hugely important, but if you're filming in daylight and you're filming outside, then actually you can get away with a lot.
Yeah.
My top tip for filming outside is film on a day like this. Like, if you're looking at
overcast and miserable.
Exactly. Like, it's one of the benefits of living in Britain.
Yeah, well, quite.
Most of the time, it's a fairly overcast, pretty bland day. But what that does is it gives you a very flat lighting.
Okay.
What you don't want is very harsh sunlight,
right?
Because it causes the cameras to be very overexposed.
Yes. Yeah.
And so actually, our classic British weather is perfect for filming.
There you go.
So
if you're in Britain, you're laughing.
Yeah. So in terms of lighting, try to film outside, and you kind of can get away with not even having anything. Otherwise, you can get some fairly cheap LED lights on Amazon, and
other marketplaces that are available.
Yes, that's true. Yes, Jeff Bezos has enough money.
He does.
But you don't really need that much to get started.
Yeah, yeah.
Secondly, in terms of a camera, honestly, I mean, I'm a huge advocate for the camera that we're using right now, which is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3.
Which is amazing.
This is not a plug, but
we need an affiliate. This is where affiliate link comes in.
DJI, please sponsor us.
Yeah.
We've got 2 now.
We have. We love these things.
Because it honestly has blown my mind. It has very quickly become my favorite camera. However, even if you don't have that, everyone has a smartphone. Yeah. And most smartphones these days have a very good, if not amazing, camera on them. And phones, funnily enough, their primary feature is talking to people, which means that the microphones on modern day phones are also fairly decent. Yeah. So you can kind of get away with just doing it on your phone. And I know that we've spoken in a previous episode before that sometimes you just got to go and do it.
Yeah, I think that's it. Don't worry about trying it. You just turn it on and start capturing stuff. Yeah. I think is key, isn't it?
The hardest part of beginning is going to be finding your rhythm. It's going to be finding out...
Getting comfortable as well.
How you act on camera, how you want to portray your brand on camera, the sort of styles that you're going to use. I mean, take, for example, with T.E A Talks. We must have done about 5 or 6 shoots, films of one episode before we settled on something.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We had multiple. Absolutely.
So, and the things you don't have to show people that.
We
haven't released those episodes of T.E A Talks because we weren't.
And we're not going to.
No,
it ain't happening. It's not.
We weren't happy with it, so we did one. We were like, we're not sure. Changed it up again. Changed it up again.
We did.
And eventually, we were happy with it. We're probably still going to change it.
Oh, we are. It's constantly changing.
The set changes every time.
Yeah, literally.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
Because the more you do, the more you're going to get used to it. Yeah. We're coming up to about 15 T.E A Talks.
Yeah, we are.
By the time this comes out, it'll be more. We've learned so much about just what T.E A Talks is for us. And I think
and got a lot more comfortable on camera. So much more comfortable. You can tell we're a bit nervous and a little bit, over animated maybe in the first couple, and then it was just calming into our flow.
And that's the thing, like, you kind of got to act it out first. You've got to put it on until you just become that.
You settle into your groove, don't you?
Yeah. And I used to be a YouTuber, and I used to say that I was putting on a character of my YouTuber persona. But one day, after about 200 videos, I turned the camera off, and I just never stopped being that person, and I'm still him to this day.
You mean you're still a YouTuber? What is going on? What is going on? I did not know this.
The YouTubes have stopped, but the character has remained. And it's just all about being comfortable on camera. So I'd say that's the biggest hurdle that you've got to overcome.
I've got another one to add in, which is something you've introduced. You do this. I don't even know if you probably just do this without even realising it, but it's so great, and it means you can put great footage together when we're out on location. And that is, in addition to the main bits of footage where maybe you're talking to camera and you're doing all this stuff, capture little bits of footage like the bits you capture, so you'll capture us getting in the car.
Yes.
You'll capture us, bits of the road, of us driving. You'll capture just random little extra scenes, almost like B-roll, I think you call it, don't you? But those kind of little extra bits that just give, what would you say, like context to kind of you being out and about.
Exactly.
Like, that's they fill in the blanks, I think, don't they?
It does.
Really powerful.
It really, it's that little secret sauce. It's the spice that you add to the videos that gives it that sense of personality. And obviously for me personally, that comes from a lot of my influences.
Yep.
There's a huge influence that I have with those shots in particular, which is Edgar Wright. Who makes like Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and all of them. And again, add that into there. Like, add your own personal influence.
Those little and those little close-ups. Like, we've done stuff where if we're going out in the car, you'll capture and you always say to me, right, open the door and then close the door, or do your shoelace up, and it's real close-in little shots. But when you stitch them together, it really gives that lovely little sequence between one location and the next location, or one bit of information you're sharing on, skipping on to the next. Really powerful stuff.
And the thing about all of that, which is really important to know, is that none of that requires equipment. It's all about your own creativity. And actually, I think being able to just go out and film stuff, this is why I always say that people just need to start doing it, is because you'll start getting those creative ideas just by doing it. So,
No, I love that. Well, there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this first ever T Talks car edition. We are very nearly at our location. We've got a very busy day ahead. It's going to be a lot of fun. Keep an eye out for Evergreen Uncut, because we're going to bring you behind the scenes as one of the episodes of what we are doing today. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you so much for joining us. Let us know if you want us to do more T Talks even, car edition. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.
See you later.